Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books and Me. Today I'm bringing you the autumn book tag. It is now officially autumn here in Australia, and I have to say that as soon as autumn officially hit, which was the autumn equinox at the start of the week, we've had rain and a cool change, and it has been so good because we've had such a hot summer. So let me get into this tag. Question number one, what is your favourite thing about autumn? Mine would have to be that it is just a tween season. While I like summer and I like winter, here summer can be unbearably hot and winter can be quite cold. And I just love autumn and spring as well, just because they are those tween seasons where you just get sort of really nice weather and you can really see the change of the seasons as well as we transition. That's what I really love about autumn. Question two, what book reminds you of your school days? Honestly, I don't know why this is in here, but I think it's because this is like America stuff. I don't know why this is a question, but we're just going to go with it. And I'm going to have to say it's Tomorrow When the War Began by John Marsden. I've mentioned this quite a lot on my channel, especially last year or the year before, I can't remember. But I read this when I was in year 9, and this story takes place in Australia. It is following teenagers, and when we read it, we were sort of the same age as these kids. And because we live in a small country town like they do, it was just very easy to relate to, not the whole my country's invaded and I must fight back thing, but just everything else. It was very easy to relate to. And whenever I think back at school and books and things like that, this is probably the one that I always come back to, and it's also a book that I still really enjoy today. You know, reading in school you can always get books that you don't really like, and this just reminds me so much of that. And yeah. Also, this just has really special memories for me because I remember reading this in school for about a week or two. We actually listened to the audiobook together as a class, and I had a really good class that year. I had a really good teacher, and none of us had read the book before, so we were all just experiencing it for the first time, and we all really enjoyed it because it is such a fantastic story. And yeah, I have really good memories for this book. Question number 3 is a cover that reminds you of autumn. Now, I kind of went looking through all my books and I can't really see anything that reminds me of autumn so much. I have a lot that are very summery, I have a lot that are very wintry, and some spring type ones, but not really anything that's autumn. But I found this one, and that is 17 and Gone by Nova Ransuma, and mainly because it's just of trees and it's orange and the 4 colours, and also because not so much here in Australia, but obviously in the US, when it's autumn, it's Halloween. So this also is a very sort of creepy-ish story. I think I haven't actually read it, but that's what the cover is. And I only just noticed that here on the front is a girl. I've had this book for like a year and I never knew that. But yeah, this seems to be like a cover, the only cover I can find that really reminds me of autumn. And I kind of wanted to find one that was sort of not on the creepy side of autumn, but I can't really find one. But anyway. So obviously this tag was created by someone who does live in the US when you do celebrate Halloween during the autumn. So the next 2 questions relate to that. So question number 4 is favourite horror or Halloween story. Now I've said this before, it's only been recently that I've really gotten into reading creepy and horror books. I don't really know why it's taken me so long because I've never really been interested in the horror genre until the past couple of years. And then obviously getting into reading, I was really intrigued by those sort of psychological creepy reads. So the first one is so I've got 2 for this, and the first one is a graphic novel, and that is Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This is a very creepy read. It's not overly creepy, and even the artwork itself initially doesn't seem that out there and that creepy, but together the story and the artwork, and the longer you look at it, the creepier it gets. And I really enjoyed this story when I read it at Halloween. Well, these stories, there's 5 in here, but the artwork is just so beautiful. Where's a really good the creepiest one in here, and I don't really want to spoil it, but at the same time I kind of do. Where are we? Okay, brace yourselves. So I feel like I'm spoiling you showing this, but it's the artwork that resonates with me a lot. And when I think of this book, it's this artwork. And the longer you look at it, the creepier it gets. And that's this. But yeah, I really like this, and it's definitely a really good Halloween read. Now, the other book is another one that I've spoken a lot about on this channel. I just want to start off by saying something that might sound really, really weird, but I have a thing for asylums. Let me explain. So from historical perspectives, asylums are really interesting. Like, a lot of horrific and horrendous stuff happened in asylums for medicine, but I find that really interesting. It just really shows how the way people thought back then, and how they thought they could treat different ailments and things like that, and obviously also the reasons behind why people were put in asylums. And it's just very intriguing, and there are so many interesting and horrific real life stories about things that happen in asylums that translate so well to being a horror story. And so it fascinates me both from the fictional and historical perspective. And so one of my favorite horror creepy reads is Asylum by Madeline Rowe, which is the first book in the Asylum series. And what makes this book even more awesome is the fact that, where is a good one? And what makes this book even better is the fact that there are actually real asylum photos dotted throughout. While the story wasn't as creepy as I'd wanted it to be, the direction it went was very, very interesting, and I'm very keen to continue on with the rest of the series at some point. I hope I get to it really soon, but this is just very intriguing. And having that interest in asylums, and also having done a ghost tour of an asylum, reading this, I just felt so immersed into the world, and it's really good. So if you are looking for stuff to read when Halloween comes around, I definitely recommend these two books. So number 5 is your favorite horror or Halloween movie. So as I said, it's only been in recent years that I've really gotten into watching and reading horror, and it really started when I was in my first year at university living on campus. Me and all my housemates, or my dorm mates, because I lived on campus as I said, we would always watch movies. Like, usually most nights we'd watch at least 1 or 2 movies. And we started this thing where we were watching horror movies. We watched a lot of them, and some of them were really good, some of them weren't so good, some of them were really creepy, and some of them weren't as creepy as I thought they were going to be. But I really enjoyed the experience of being able to watch horror movies, especially in a group setting with a lot of people who did and didn't really watch horror that much as well. And the one series that we conquered was the Saw series, and it is a series that I come back to every single Halloween. I try to watch all of them, but I at least watch the first one, and I find the Saw series fascinating. I think they were really well made. Yes, they're gory, but the story that flows through the entire 7 movies is really, really good. Every little detail becomes really important. And then just because I did watch it with a great bunch of people, I have special memories about it. Like, for the first one, I was watching it, it was late at night, so me and 2 other people were there. We started watching Child's Play. None of us had seen any of the Chucky movies. And I've never actually seen a Chucky movie. We didn't even get to finish it. We got to the first part where Chucky tries to attack the guy in the car, and instead of being scared like we were meant to, we just laughed because it was such a cringy, I think it's like an 80s movie. It was kind of cringy, so we stopped watching. We're like, right, we're gonna watch Saw. None of us had seen Saw, and I honestly thought it was different to what it was. I thought it was scarier to what it was. I'm someone who could sort of handle the gory side of things, not so much like the jump scare side of things. And we all watched Saw. We were all very intrigued by it, having none of us seen it. And it was at the end, where if you've seen it, you'll know what happens at the end, when it is revealed that Jigsaw was kind of a lot closer than anyone thought. It was like this massive plot twist, and all 3 of us were sitting on the edge of our seats going, holy crap, like, we could not believe that, and we all unanimously agreed that that was like the biggest plot twist of the entire series. Although I went on to say, no, I feel like my biggest plot twist for the series, that was a very close second, but my one has to be when you find out that, I think it's movies 2 and 3 or 3 and 4 run parallel to one another, and you find that out. Like, that was an insane plot twist for me, but just the way the whole series was created, I really love it. And as I said, it's a series I come back to every single year. Another horror movie that has stuck with me for 3 years since I've seen it is Dead Silence. I've only watched it once, but it is a movie, of all the horror movies that I have seen, it is one that has stuck with me that long, and one that I can remember relatively well. And a movie that I also want to go back and watch at some point when I have the nerve to do it. And it is just a really creepy movie about ventriloquist dolls, which is creepy, which I find creepy enough as it is, but when you put them in a horror setting, very creepy. And I actually still remember the poem, which I think adds to the creepiness of the movie, and that is, "Beware the stare of Mary Shaw, she had no children, only dolls, and if you see her in your dreams, be sure to never ever scream, for if you'll do, she'll rip your tongue out at the seam, and if you see her, remember this, always," wait, "and if you see her, remember this, all you have to do is shh." But that was a really good movie, and I feel like a really scary movie, so I definitely recommend both of those if you haven't seen them already. Number 6, a fall book release that you're looking forward to. There are a number of good books coming out during the autumn. Some of them I've mentioned in my most anticipated releases video, but I think one that I am most anticipating is Note to Self by Connor Franta. I really enjoyed his A Work in Progress, and Connor said that this second autobiography is meant to be a lot deeper and reveal a lot more about himself, and I'm really intrigued by that, especially some of the things that he's hinted at that will be in the book. I know me and a friend who also really likes Connor were very interested in hoping that one aspect is revealed in this book, but I'm very excited. As I said, I really liked the first one and I can't wait to read the second one. Number 7, an autumn movie release that you're looking forward to seeing. That would have to be Beauty and the Beast. I'm very excited for that. I actually just recently rewatched the original Disney movie, which I had not seen in so long, and I feel like maybe I'd never watched the movie in whole. I know I've seen bits about it, and really I just generally know about the Beauty and the Beast story. So yeah, I'm very, very excited to see the live action remake and to see Emma Watson as the role of Belle, which I think, even though I haven't seen her in it, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, I definitely think she's the perfect Belle, so I'm very excited for Beauty and the Beast. Finally, question 8, what 3 books are you planning on reading this autumn? I've sort of gone away from setting myself TBRs and things like that, but there are definitely some books that I want to get to as soon as possible, but it's just really hard for me to pick up books like that when I get really attached to, but it's really hard for me to sort of pick up books that I have set myself out to read when I get into mood reading and I want to read a particular genre or I want to read a particular author. But there are definitely 3 books that I really want to get to soon. The first one is Nevernight by J. Christoph. I got this book literally May last year for review, and then I got a finished copy when I met Jay, and I only got about halfway through and I ended up putting it down for some unknown reason, and it just got so long since I picked it up that when I tried to read it again, and I think it was January, I was a bit lost. I forgot what who some of the characters were, I forgot what some of the things that were happening in the story were. I'm at the point now where I need to go back and reread it, but I'm totally okay with that just because the way that this book is written and the narrators that are used in this, and just the whole world that this story is set in, I just need a big refresher and start again. But I'm very excited because Jay has just released the cover for God's Grave, which is the second book, and I'm very excited for that, even though I have no idea how this book ends, so I need to get on and read it before September, when the second book comes out. The second book is Fallen by Lauren Kate. I talked about this book recently on my channel. I've been wanting to reread this book for years now, especially because the movie is coming out at some point. I don't even know. I think it is getting released in certain countries. I think it is just coming out in the UK. And I feel like the first place it was released was the Philippines. I don't even think it's in the US yet. I definitely know it's not in Australia yet. So I don't know when I'm going to get to see the movie, but I definitely want to reread this before I see the movie so that when I see the movie, I can be my 15-year-old self and just, be the 15-year-old that was really excited for this book and the movie when it was announced 6 years ago or something. And I also want to reread this so that I can finally decide whether this is a story I'm still interested in and either continue on with the series finally, or I can get rid of the books or maybe just keep this one and get rid of the other books, I don't know. But I just need to make that decision because they have been sitting on my shelf for so long, and I need to finally decide whether it is a book in a series that I'm still interested in. And the other book that I really want to get to soon is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I feel like most people here on BookTube and in the book community love this series, and everyone is really excited for A Court of Mist and Fury. That's what the third one's called. Yeah, I can't remember. But I've been wanting to read something by Sarah J Maas for so long, and I really want to read this series. I've heard a lot of great things and I just really need to pick it up and start reading it. So that is it for the autumn book tag. I found this on the blog, the Mud and Stars book blog. I'll link to the post below so you can check out the questions. There were also questions there for like the full-time cozy book tag if you're interested in that as well. If you want, I am tagging anyone who wants to do this tag. If you don't want to actually do a video but want to answer some questions, then leave them in the comments below because I'd love to hear you and see your responses to all these questions. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you guys next week with another one. Bye!